Unpopular opinion about dating apps. Nobody is on dating apps for you to ask how their day is. They're there for you to ask them out.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video for you here today from Men Only titled When Women Over 30 Finally Realize That They Have Hit the Wall. It's funny to me how they never realize it until it's far too late for them, but anyway. Now, today's video was suggested to me by Hadan the Mummy. I'm going to leave both of their channels linked in the pinned comments, so make sure you go and subscribe to these guys. Don't forget to leave your own comments, and let's jump right into the video.
He's a 10, but he wakes up early to go to work, barely goes out, plays video games, has social anxiety, and sends memes to the same two friends. If you're this guy, please marry me.
She had her chance to get with a dude who's like that, but back when she was at her peak desirability, she called that man a creepy loser and tried to lock down Chad instead. Now she's begging him to come back, but he won't. He has too much dignity for that.
Okay, story time. So, good friend of mine and I went on a girls' trip over the weekend. We drove 3 hours south, went to Charleston for the weekend. We're like, okay, let's just get away, just have some fun, meet up with a friend of ours, and maybe find some attractive men. No. No.
Of course, she couldn't find those men. The types of men she wants are too busy spending their time with younger women, or just probably not even dating at all. Those dudes are not interested in women who are far past their prime years.
None. I'm starting to wonder where they are. Like, where? I went to Vegas back in July. I saw maybe one attractive man, and he was mediocre attractive. It wasn't even like, wow, he's really hot. Even I was there with like family, and even the male members of my family were like, there's really no attractive men. No.
It's interesting how this woman doesn't elaborate on what she deems as attractive when it comes to men. That's because when a woman describes an attractive man, she uses movie actors as a benchmark.
So anyway, back to Charleston. We go to Charleston. Nothing. None. Just puny little children that, I swear, they're doing the least. Like, these guys, they're doing the least. They dress like crap. Their hair looks like shit. And they all think they need to have a mustache. No. It's not cute, and it's not a thing.
Does she honestly think that men are going to listen to her and then shave their mustaches just to improve their chances of getting with her? I mean, if anything, it's more likely that those guys are going to grow out their mustaches in protest and to avoid her.
So, on Saturday night, my friend and I, we get all dressed up. We're looking super cute. And we're going to a nice dinner at Hall's. But before that, we had time to stop at Republic for a drink. So we walk in. It's packed. It's Halloween weekend. Most people are dressed up. We were not dressed up in Halloween costumes, obviously. But everyone else is dressed up. And it was a little bit of a younger crowd, I will say.
There comes a point where people will realize that they have aged out of certain groups, and this bar was for younger people. She didn't belong there, and the more she tries to fit in, the bigger of a fool she'll make herself out to be.
However, we're standing there, minding our own business, talking, and some guy approaches my friend. She starts talking to him casually, and as she's casually talking to him, another kid walks up, and I only caught the end of it. I'm glad I didn't see all of it because I wouldn't have handled it as well as she did. This kid walks up with his cell phone and sticks his fingers in her drink and has his cell phone with the light on, filming it, and then puts the phone in her face to like see what her reaction was going to be.
This is what happens when you surround yourself with drunken college students. They're going to use you as fodder for their stupid TikTok prank channels. This is why you should stay away from these types of places as you get older, or just in general, really.
I only saw the phone part and him like kind of stick it in her face, and she was just like staring at him like, what the fuck? And so she proceeds to put her drink on the ground, like next to her, because she's like, I don't want it. Well, I didn't see the fingers go in the drink. I would not have just let that happen. I probably either would have made him buy me another drink, or quite frankly, the drink would have went on him.
She wouldn't have done that. She likes to think she would, and she tells herself that she would have done that, but we all know she would have just screamed at him as he recorded and uploaded her cringe online.
Again, ladies, if you know of where all the attractive men are, can you please let me know? Because we're doomed over here. We're doomed over here on the East Coast because we got nothing. So maybe I need to go over there by like Wyoming and get a cowboy or something. I don't know.
One thing that modern women don't realize when they ask about where to find the good men is that it won't do them any good even if they knew where to find them. They're so unpleasant that those good men would never bother talking to them. And if they did, I can tell you right now, it wouldn't last.
I'm being dead serious. I'm not even trying to be an asshole at all right now by saying this. I personally have never come across a drop-dead gorgeous man. Like someone who you're just like, oh, damn, he is fine. That doesn't open their mouth and talk and immediately I get the ick. They're either just like not well spoken, they're straight up fucking dumb, or arrogant. Every gorgeous guy I've met has had a really shitty personality. I really wish I could find a gorgeous, like, fine man who was so emotionally intelligent, who was well spoken, who had a good personality, who wasn't so full of himself. Where are the gorgeous men at that have a fucking brain? Like, please.
The irony of this whole thing is how she doesn't realize how her ignorance and lack of basic vocabulary makes her come off as incredibly undesirable to the types of men that she's looking for.
As someone who hasn't met their husband yet, I don't know if guys think this way. Also, excuse this weird shadow on my face. But I've been trying to get better about just like praying for my future husband and thinking about him like throughout the day, not in like an obsessive way. I used to think about him all the time, and I've really gotten better about just like giving it to God and it'll come when it comes. But I've been trying to be better about like specifically praying for him and like just divine protection over him, and like I hope that Jesus is just doing everything that he needs to do in him and me when the time is right.
You can always tell when a modern woman has recently joined the church when they immediately start asking God to just deliver her a man as if he's some sort of an eternal dating service or something. I don't know.
And I just had this moment because I was just kind of like praying for him and thinking about him. And I was just like, I wonder if God is just like sitting up in heaven and he knows exactly where I am over here and he knows exactly where like he is over here. And I wonder if we ever like think about each other or pray for each other at the same time, or like I'm just like, oh, like I hope he's well, and I hope he's like, hope she's well. And I just kind of like felt like God gave me like a bird's eye view of like his view.
These women act like they are born again, but they show just the same amount of entitlement as they did before walking into the church, and they are so full of themselves, they assume they know exactly what God is thinking when they are praying.
And it's like there's two people on the planet right now who have no idea that like the family they're gonna have one day and like the prayers that are being prayed for each other. And I just think that's kind of what God's teaching me right now of how to pray. He's training me of how to pray for him, because in marriage, so I've heard, it's healthy to pray, go to God before you even go to your spouse, and like pray for God to, just change their heart about things or change your heart about things and stuff. And so, I don't know, if anyone's like waiting for their person, remember to pray for them, even if you don't know what they look like, who they are, where they are. I definitely don't, but yeah.
Joining a church because you'll assume that it will end with a marriage is just such a selfish reason to join up. It shows that they are only really pretending to grow as people or to get into these places and are still in it for themselves and realistically nobody else.
So there's discourse going on at the moment about the dating scene, especially in Australia, and how bad it is for women. And as always, when this conversation comes up, there's men in the comments being like, well, women need to lower their standards, women's standards are too high, and blah, 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 they need to accept less, and blah, blah. And this type of conversation is so symptomatic of male fragility that we're experiencing in this modern society. I've talked about this before. I might pin the videos to the top of my page. This is the first time in history where women are experiencing true independence from men.
These women have been bragging about their independence and they have done nothing with this so-called independence. I mean, they've got jobs and they pay rent, but they act like this is some kind of an epic win, but it really isn't. It's really just called being an adult.
In that prior to this, we've always needed a husband or a father to co-sign our existence within society, because we live in a cash flow system and women prior to this didn't have access to our own money. Of course, it's more complicated than that, but generally speaking, this is the first generation where women can do and be anything without a man's assistance.
There is nothing complicated about the situation at hand. Modern women have been brainwashed into thinking that women weren't allowed to have bank accounts until the 1970s, and that's one of the biggest reasons why they've become so insufferable.
Men are not approaching dating with this in mind. Instead, they're questioning, well, what do women bring to the table? We bring to the table everything that we've always brought to the table, which is being better leaders, being more empathetic, being homemakers, being caretakers, being therapists, being nurses, being all of these things. And now we don't need you to financially back us. We're finally saying, what do you bring to the table?
What's funny about this is how she's telling an entire population of men that she's better than them, and she still wonders why men aren't willing to talk to her. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up.
And instead, you're complaining and telling us to drop our standards. Now, I consider myself pretty humble and I experience a lot of self-loathing, so I don't say this lightly or easily or ever before on the internet. But I'm a catch. Like, just objectively speaking, I'm well educated, I'm intelligent, I own my own property, I have a high-paying job relative to the people my own age, I am interesting, I have hobbies, I work out, I am funny, and I'm not the most hideous person in the world.
Every single thing she's listed here are things that men do not care about. Men do not care about your job, they don't care about your property, and they don't care about your delusions of being funny. She made it clear that she's not a nice person, and that's a deal breaker for most guys.
So then I ask of my male counterparts, what do you have to offer me that makes my situation better? Because for the first time in history, being alone for women is an option. It's never been an option before. Then I'm gonna have men tell me that I need to drop my standards. Why? Because you're not in my league? I know that. I don't want to date you. I don't need to date you. And this is true of like all women that I meet that are single. The reality is we're better than the dating pool of men.
It's weird how she asks men to chime in on the situation and then immediately tells men that their opinions don't matter because she thinks that she's better than them. And she still wonders why men don't want to bother with her.
Particularly these ones that are in comments saying women need to drop their standards. And again, not all men. I feel like I have to say that in every video because I always get attacked. But women generally outrank our male counterparts. It's been true for years and years and years, but we are finally starting to see it, and we finally have the opportunity to be independent of men. And like I've mentioned before, this scares men because they need women. So of course they're going to get in the comments and say that we need to drop our standards because you're not improving yourselves to be on our levels. You guys can't cook, can't clean, can't wipe your ass without your mother's hand. And you're going to tell us to drop our standards? That's ridiculous.
She doesn't realize that the vast majority of men actually cook, clean, and have the ability to wipe their own bottoms without needing any assistance. I'm sure she will be shocked to hear that piece of news. But anyway, guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Drop a comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Peace.